This last Nintendo Direct felt a lot like being pushed bare ass down a wood slide with the grain. And at the very, very end, you get a little lollipop to wipe away your tears. And this lollipop, by the way, has a very fleeting flavor. I am in the camp of people that agree that making an announcement trailer for The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time Remake is strange, especially when they insist that the release date is going to be this year. Now, it's very clear to me that means that it's going to be towards the end of the year. It's probably going to be one of the holiday games. I can't imagine it's going to be within the next few months. It's definitely not going to be in the summer, and if it's going to be in the fall, it's going to be towards the end of the fall. Let's just be so for real right now. On top of that, I am anticipating, hopefully, and maybe I'm being a little bit too hopeful here when I say that we are most likely going to be getting a Zelda 40th anniversary direct just for all things Zelda. And there's a whole lot I can talk about there of all of my hopes and dreams in regards to what may come out of that. But in this video, I just want to discuss the Ocarina of Time remake. Now, we didn't get much out of the remake other than voice acting, the graphics, and that's pretty much fucking it. I am definitely in the camp that wants the voice acting. I think it sounds pretty good from the very, very little that we've heard so far. I think it was just a great Deku Tree talking the whole time. And I think the art style of the game is great. It has like this realistic, almost Final Fantasy-esque type art style to it that I think will fit really well within Ocarina of Time, especially when Ocarina of Time Majora's Mask, yes, they were kids games, but there were also grittier and one might even say grosser areas in both games. I actually might be leaning more towards Ocarina of Time for this one. However, we did just come off of the tail of two fairly polarizing Zelda games. Now, I love both of these games, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, but my major gripe with both of them is really in their dungeon design. Every single dungeon, if you can even call them that, in Breath of the Wild can be completed in about 20 minutes, give or take, and Tears of the Kingdom took a half step in the right direction, but is still giving us these open-ended dungeons that leave a lot to be desired. Now, I think it can be exciting to finally get back to a point in which Zelda dungeons were arguably at their peak. In my opinion, I think that they peaked with Twilight Princess, and I'm fucking right, but Ocarina of Time is definitely up there in terms of dungeon design, and despite it focusing on linearity, I think this linear design adheres well to the way that a lot of these dungeons are structured and in the order in which they are structured. And I do understand that some of these dungeons can be done out of order, and I wouldn't expect them to necessarily change that in the remake. But one of the things that I have been throbbing for ever since Breath of the Wild came out is I want some good dungeons. I mean, I want more dungeons. I think the general consensus from a lot of the people that are big fans of Zelda is that Ocarina of Time was cut short in the dungeon department, which is strange to say that considering there's like 8 proper dungeons in the entire game. But from a lot of people that follow the cut content from video games, you probably know that Ocarina of Time is actually lacking 3 dungeons. First is the Light Temple, which is why you get the Light Medallion right when you become an adult for the first time. Second is some sort of Ice Temple, but then kind of got scrapped and became the Ice Cavern. I would love to see that be a full dungeon, because the Ice Cavern is probably not the best part of the game, and I would love to see you go into the Ice Cavern and be presented with a full dungeon. I think that could be sick. I also believe the Forest Temple was supposed to be the Wind Temple, and this is why when you go into Ganondorf's tower for the first time, there's a light room, there's a wind room, and there's an ice room. I think it could be a really cool possibility to get a Zelda game that could have 11 dungeons in it. Now, on top of that, I think that there's a lot of expectations for this game specifically because the idea is that this should be a modern retelling of a game that came out in 1998. To remind you, that is 28 years ago, almost 3 decades ago is when this game came out. I do not want to play the same game that came out 3 fucking decades ago. That doesn't make any sense. But I also want them to revamp a lot of other portions of the game. For example, the overworld is very empty. From someone who just played Metroid Prime 4, in the year of our Lord 2026, your overworld should not be empty. People are gonna get angry, and then your brand new AAA title is barely going to fart past 1 million units sold. Now, honestly, Nintendo could plan design, and build a game that is literally just Link taking a liquid shit for 46 minutes straight, and it will still sell 25 million copies. But I want more from this game. This game is coming out this year in 2026. We see how modern Zelda games can be. Now, I'm not expecting this to be the brand new modern Zelda game. I don't think that's its intention, and I don't think it would be reasonable to expect such a huge endeavor, a remake, so this is being built from the ground up, to come out just 3 years after the previous Zelda game. We have to temper our expectations at least a little bit, and a lot of the stuff that I'm going to say in this video, and a lot of the stuff I've already said, is kind of pie in the sky. But while I'm beating my shit on ecstasy, I might as well go over everything that I could dream of that we could possibly get in this game. Remember how I said more temples? Well, I also mean more items. I want to play around with some more shit. You can use those more items to create more mini dungeons, to create more caverns, make the open world more alive. Do what Twilight Princess did, and even though Twilight Princess was also a pretty empty game in the overworld, let me have the opportunity to use my items out in the overworld and really take advantage of that shit. The game is already perfect. Well, a lot of people say that the game is already perfect, but I think anybody can play Ocarina of Time and see where things can be improved, see where things can be added, so on and so forth. Obviously, we're expecting all of the standard quality of life improvements that we've seen in the previous remaster. Keep the stuff that's already working largely the same. But we also don't want to play the same game. I think another one of my fears is that despite Ocarina of Time being a fairly bright, joyous, and happy game, I want things like the bottom of the well, the Shadow Temple, Dead Hand, Re-Deads, going underneath the cemetery in Kakariko Village. I want this shit to feel scary. Like I felt like it was scary when I was a kid. Actually, I didn't feel like anything was scary when I was a kid, because the scariest thing in the room is always me. I mean, not for nothing, for them to change such a core game of their back catalog would be setting a completely new precedent for the company. Now, we've seen stuff like this from other companies like Resident Evil, but to be completely honest, changing Ocarina of Time, adding more dungeons, adding things to the overworld, making it a modern masterpiece instead of just giving us the same masterpiece from 30 years ago, this is completely unseen territory. There is no precedent for it at Nintendo. And if we do actually get even a little bit of what a lot of people are expecting from this, then it could be exciting to expect what could a modern Majora's Mask look like. Fuck, what could a modern Super Mario Sunshine look like? I want a Super Mario Sunshine remake. I want a Super Mario Sunshine 2. Give me Super Mario Sunshine 2. Anyway, I'm excited for this game. I hope it's, I don't know, at least a little bit of what I was hoping. Give us like at least one more dungeon. Give us some more shit to do in the overworld. Make sure the voice acting is good. Give us some few new side quests. I don't know, man. Just like, don't leave me without hope. Please, do not leave me without hope. All right, I'm most definitely going to make a follow-up video after the Direct when we actually see gameplay. And we'll see just how many of my hopes and dreams come true. All right, y'all have a good one.